In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope you people are fine. I am your teacher Saima Tunuli with the 9th lecture for civics, and today we will be doing the chapter number 3, that is the state. Open your book on page number 36. We will be doing the origin of the state, as we have so far tried to learn something about what the word state is. What does it mean and what does it imply? But we have not so far learned and how and when the state came into existence. So this is what today will be our topic, that is the existence or the origin or the genesis of the state. We do not have any sufficient historical record that could reveal precisely about the genesis, that is the origin of this most important and vital of all human institutions, that is the state. What the political theorists have done so far, that they have tried to unveil the origin of the state, and they have this speculations and hypotheses, but some accounts may seem logical and appealing apparently, but none have sufficient historical evidence to prove its soundness. We have the following theories which we will be studying today, and the first one is the theory of divine origin of state. It is the oldest and the simplest of all the theories that venture to explain the origin of the state. सबसे पहली, सबसे पुरानी और आसान तरीक. The belief that God himself is the creator of the state has been common amongst people all over the world till recent times. What this belief further implies can be summed up as God is the creator of the world, he is the ruler of the state, or we can say the ruler of the state is the king nominated by God, that whosoever will be ruling with the state, he will be only a nominated, we can say nominated authority or power by God. Another is kingship is hereditary, that is royal authority should pass from a father king to his eldest son. According to the divine or the old origin of state theory, it is believed that kingship is heredity, that is जो आपकी monarchy है या बादशाहत है, it passes on from one generation to the other, that is from a father king to his eldest son. The king, by virtue of his appointment, is God's vicegerent and agent. Again, the king will be only a interpreter or a agent or a vicegerent of God on this earth. The king is the embodiment of virtue and reason. His judgment is infallible. That is, that the king is a person who do not have any kind of weakness or any kind of faults, and he is a virtuous person, he is a rational person. Whatever he takes decision, they are rational, they are not emotional, and his judgment is infallible, that is, it is never and it can never be wrong. The king is not accountable to his people or any other mundane authority, he is answerable to God only, as he is being sent by the God, and he is a kind of a vicegerent of God, Allah का वो खलीफा है, तो he will be only answerable for his deeds to the God or to the supreme authority, that is God. To obey is to obey God, that is, to obey the king is to obey God. That is the most important thing. When we are his subject, we are his we can say his people, so we will be listening to what the king is saying, and we should be obeying him. And at the same time, if we are to obey the king, this means we are obeying God. Now, how we have this evolution of this theory, ये कैसे इब्तदा में आई, कहाँ से इसकी एवोल्यूशन हुई, what is the source? This theory is as old as history. We can say that we can neither name a person who first propounded the theory of divine origin of state, nor can we specify a time when this theory was first heard about. हमें किसी ऐसे इंसान का नहीं पता जिसने ये जो पहली थ्योरी है डिवाइन थ्योरी ऑफ स्टेट ये दी, उसका नाम नहीं पता, किसने स्टार्ट की हमें ये नहीं पता. इट इज़ एज ओल्ड एज हिस्ट्री itself. According to Jews, they believed in the divine origin and the divine rights of the king. That is, their religious scripture, that is the Old Testament, tells that the kings were ordained, appointed, removed, and slaughtered by God. That all these kings, they were basically appointed and removed by God, and God was the one who was dealing with these rulers. The Christian hold identical beliefs. Hindus believed in divine incarnation. That is, Rama, for example, is still believed to be the divine ruler. So we will be having these different ideologies or different concept by these different religions. Chinese regarded their emperor the sons of heaven. Japanese indigenous name, indigenous is the place from where something originates. Nippon literally means the sun god. So these were the beliefs of the Chinese and the Japanese. Japanese believed that the sun god embodied himself into the emperor, who till the World War II, that is from 1939 to 45, enjoyed a semi-divine official status. So this is what the Chinese or these Japanese believed in, especially that they believed that the sun god जो है, that is the Nippon, he is the one who has turned or transformed himself into a person, and he is coming as a ruler, and from that time he is looking after the world. And they have this idea from 1939 to 45, that is till the beginning of World War II and the end of it. Now we have a natural theory as well, that is the concept of divine rights of kings. आपके जो kings हैं उनके rights divine हैं, and they are to be followed. French writer Bossuet asserted that the king was an image of God on earth. यानी अल्लाह ताला ही का एक अक्स है ज़मीन पे जो आपका बादशाह है, and that he should be obeyed religiously, and you are duty bound to follow him without any kind of argumentation. In King James I time, the theory of divine right was put forward to support his claim that he was God's vicegerent, and that every word uttered by his mouth was to be obeyed without question, not only as the law of the state but also as the divine injunction. That it is your divine duty, you are religiously bound to follow these instructions that the king will be given, and whatever he says and whatever words he utter, you are there to follow without any kind of debate or discussion. So this was basically a kind of a evolution of this divine theory. Even in today's world, in a new, or we can say in a few meager states like Bhutan and Nepal, the state heads claim a divine right. So it was in the ancient times, especially in Christianity, that the king was considered as the divine ruler and you were duty bound to follow him, and at the same time if you are not obeying the king, then this means you are disobeying the God. But we don't have this kind of theories right now. It was in the ancient times, but still in some states, some meager states, small states like Bhutan and Nepal, we have this kind of theory of state. So what we can say about its evolution of the theory, how first we have discussed its evolution or the origin of the state or this theory, but what will be the evaluation of this theory? Evaluation is what we will be assessing out of it, हम इसमें से क्या नतीजा निकाल रहे हैं, क्या अक्स निकाल रहे हैं. तो what that will be, evaluation is that there is no denying the fact that the theory of divine origin helped the rulers of the past in the maintenance of law and order. That is, where the primitive men, that is the old men, they were illiterate, uncultured, undisciplined, disobedient, and arrogant. It was only the fear of divine rod which could somewhat coerce him to behave and obey. So we can say through this evaluation of the theory, हम जब इसका एक नतीजा निकाल रहे हैं, इसको evaluate कर रहे हैं, sum up कर रहे हैं, तो आपकी जो थ्योरी है ये रूलर्स को हेल्प आउट करती थी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मेंटेन करने की. द रीज़न बिहाइंड दैट वाज द पीपल वर इलिटरेट, दे वर अनएजुकेटेड, uncultured, they were not able to behave in the society and how to live. Discipline नहीं था, नाफरमानी थी, arrogance था. So that was the reason that this proved to be, this kind of theory proved to be a kind of a डिवाइन रॉड. यानी एक तरह का उनके लिए ये एक ऐसा डंडा था जिससे वो डरते थे कि हमारे सर पे पड़ेगा इफ़ वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू फॉलो द किंग. इन एंशियंट सोसाइटीज़ religion no doubt helped strengthen state authority over the subjects. So this is what this divine theory did, that it was a kind of authority which strengthened the state. State को मजबूत कर रही थी. ये एक ऐसी ताकत थी जिससे आपके जो subjects थे, आपके जो लोग subjects कौन होते हैं, your people of the country, your public, they were following the instructions given by the king. At the same time, we can say a student of civics studies this theory for not its soundness and practicability, but only for its historical and educative value. So we can say for a student of civics, it proves to be a very helpful theory which tells or which gives them a kind of a knowledge about the historical and educative values and the standards we were having due to this divine theory of the state. इससे क्या फ़ायदा था, historically ये कितनी strong थी और ये हमें कैसे educate करती है. Further, it tells us that in primitive societies, that is the old societies, religion reigned supreme in politics. Or previously, as I have told you, especially in the Christian society, religion was playing a very dominant or paramount role in politics, and the role of the priest and the head of the state was there, and they were there all the time giving instructions and telling the people what to do and what not to be done. So with this we have the evaluation. Previously we had done the evolution, that is the beginning, and with this evaluation we have assessed this theory. Later on we will be doing the right now we will be doing this criticism as well, because the theory of divine origin tells us that in primitive societies religion reigned supreme in politics. So at the same time, what do the critics have to say about this? Critics have challenged the soundness, we can say the stability, or the we can say stability of this theory on the following grounds. वो क्या कहते हैं, जो नकात हैं वो क्या कहते हैं इस theory के मुतालिक? They say it is dogmatic. Dogmatic क्या होगा? Dogmatic होगा set of principles opposing all other opinions. यानी अपना ही एक opinion होना, एक अपनी ही belief होना, जिस rigid होना जिससे हम हटे ना, लचक नहीं होनी. It is dogmatic, superstitious, having too many beliefs, and unscientific. So the theory is based on mere hypothesis. इसको बस assume किया गया है. Common sense does not support it. और इसको आपको जो कॉमन सेंस है ना वो इसको सपोर्ट नहीं करता. इसको यही कहा जाता है कि ये रिजिड है, इसमें लचक नहीं है, इसमें सुपरस्टिशंस हैं कि जो बादशाह है ही इज़ द टोटल power and authority, and he is the vicegerent of God, and you are duty bound to follow him no matter he is right or wrong. So this proves it to be unscientific. Second is historical evidence proves the falseness. That is, according to R.M. Macweller, he has very convincingly proved that the state in its beginning had a tribal character and was also absolutely democratic in nature. ऑटोक्रेटिक स्टेट इज़ अ लेटर डेवलपमेंट. ये जो एक बंदे का रूल आया ना ऑटोक्रेटिक, दैट इज़ रूल ऑफ वन, और द रूल ऑफ द हेड और द किंग और द मोनार्क, दैट इज़ देयर लेटर ऑन. इससे पहले अगर हम देखें तो जो स्टेट थी वो डेमोक्रेटिक ही थी, हैविंग द ओपिनियन ऑफ अदर पीपल एंड मैनी पीपल, एंड इट हैड अ ट्राइबल करेक्टर. बहुत सारे लोग इकट्ठे होते थे, वो अपने ओपिनियंस बनाते थे और अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट दे यूज टू रन द स्टेट. Another is it always encouraged arbitrary rule. Now what is this arbitrary rule? Again, arbitrary rule means when we are doing things forcibly, हम जब चीज़ों को सख्ती से जबर से करवाते हैं. When judged on the basis of its practical implications, it becomes evident that the theory always encouraged arbitrary rule. यानी हमेशा इसमें एक ज़ोर ज़बरदस्ती ऐड हुई है. पोप्स जो आपके चर्च के पादरी होते हैं, एंड टायरेंट्स ऑलवेज यूज़ द नेम ऑफ गॉड टू जस्टिफाई देयर ऑप्रेसिव मेजर्स. सेंट पॉल फॉर इंस्टेंस once declared, let every soul be subjected unto the highest powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that are ordained of God, whosoever resisteth or resist it, the power resisteth the ordinance of God, and that resist shall receive themselves damnation. Damnation is condemnation. Or here Sir Paul is of the opinion that whatever the commandment is given to the individuals, to the subjects or to the public by the ruler, is there to be followed, and whosoever resists it, is not following it, he will be punished, he will be condemned, or he will be sent to hell. So we can say there is this encouragement of arbitrary rule in the sense that people are made to do things बाय फियर ऑफ गॉड. अल्लाह का नाम लेके ये पादरी, ये टायरेंट्स जो थे, वो अपनी जो भी ऑप्रेसिव डिज़ाइंस होते थे, उनके जो भी ऑप्रेसिव मेजर्स होते थे, उनको लेते हुए लोगों से ज़बरदस्ती बहुत कुछ करवा लेते थे, बहुत कुछ मनवा लेते थे. सो अनदर criticism is that is total denial of natural, political, social and fundamental rights. How that happens? As we know, there are good kings and bad kings. अच्छे और बुरे हर तरह के बादशाह हैं. The question would naturally arise as how a vicious king can be the incarnate and vicegerent of God, who is all merciful and all benevolent. हम कैसे कह सकते हैं कि एक विशियस, दैट इज़ अ क्रूअल, इमोरल किंग कैन बी अ शैडो ऑफ गॉड, जबकि अल्लाह ताला तो बहुत रहीम और करीम है. द डिवाइन राइट थ्योरीज और थ्योरिस्ट नो डाउट हैव एन एक्सप्लेनेशन टू ऑफर. अब जो हमारे डिवाइन राइट की जो थ्योरी है, उसके जो थ्योरिस्ट हैं, उनके पास एक इसकी एक्सप्लेनेशन है. वो कहते हैं कि according to James 1, he said a king cannot be monstrously vicious. कोई किंग भी बहुत ज़्यादा जालिम और जाबिर नहीं हो सकता. Even if a king is wicked, it means God has sent him as a punishment for people's sin, and it is unlawful to shake off the burden which God has laid upon them. So it is said that अगर कोई बादशाह या हुक्मरान वक्त बहुत ज़ालिम और जाबिर भी है, in that case he is only sent by the God as a punishment on the people. So it is sometimes even believed in today's world that if we are not good as a public or as a nation, so God will be sending bad rulers on us. कहते हैं ना, जैसी रियाया होगी वैसे हुक्मरान होंगे. So this is one of the beliefs. So in this way, this notion simply amounts to a total denial of natural, political, social and fundamental rights. So इससे क्या होता है कि आपकी जो आपके जो नेचुरल, कुदरती और पॉलिटिकल, सियासी और समाजी और आपके जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स हैं, हकूक़ हैं, उनकी मनफी हो जाती है, उनको रद्द कर दिया जाता है. दैट इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल इन अ डेमोक्रेटिक वर्ल्ड. एज इफ़ द पीपल आर द सिटीज़न ऑफ अ स्टेट, दे हैव क्लेम ओवर देयर राइट्स, विच जो अपने हकूक़ पे, अपने राइट्स पे वो क्लेम कर सकते हैं कि हमारे नेचुरल राइट्स हैं, हमारे पॉलिटिकल राइट्स हैं, हमारे साथ कोई भी ज़बरदस्ती या सख्ती नहीं कर सकता विदाउट एनी रीज़न और एक्सप्लेनेशन. In the last point, or in the last criticism, in the ancient times the general consciousness was in a state of maturity. We can say in the beginning that general awareness जो थी among the people of consciousness of humanity that was there in the people of humanity, we can say that was immaturity. People were not mature enough, and with the passage of time, as we have this religion of Islam, we have Islamic belief and all those things, that the human mind reached its fullest maturity, and now it was possible for an imperative upon every human being to interpret the word of God. So we can say now, with the passage of time, people have become quite mature enough. They are aware about many things, so they can differentiate that how the state will be run and how the ruler will be behaving. So this is all we have for today. That is, we have this criticism as well. We have the evolution and evaluation of the first, or the, we can say, the most historical or the oldest and the simplest theory, that is the theory of divine origin of the state. Thought for today is that if you believe in yourself, you are already a winner. Thank you and have a nice day.